What if I told you that some of the most powerful habits humans ever relied on never actually disappeared? They just slipped quietly into the background. Today, we outsource everything. Our sleep to apps, our health to pills, our intuition to algorithms. And we're told that if something is old, it must be outdated. But that wasn't always how it worked. For thousands of years, people survived without modern conveniences, not because life was easier, but because their daily practices were smarter, simpler, and deeply aligned with how the human body and mind actually function. What's fascinating is that many of these traditions never stopped working. They just stopped being talked about. Some were too simple to sell. Some couldn't be patented. Others were replaced by faster, flashier alternatives. And yet, modern research is slowly circling back to them, quietly validating what grandparents, farmers, healers, and even soldiers already knew. By the time we reach number 13, you'll hear about a practice that was once considered so essential it was taught before reading and writing. And number 16 ties everything together in a way that may completely change how you think about progress. So stick with me. This isn't about nostalgia. It's about rediscovering tools we never should have abandoned. And if you enjoy learning things like this slow, thoughtful knowledge that actually sticks, you might want to quietly join the community here. Let's start with number 1, cold water face washing, often called the nervous system reset. Long before skincare routines had 10 steps and smart mirrors, people began their mornings with cold water. Grandparents did it without thinking. Soldiers were trained to do it before long marches. Even ancient cultures believed cold water on the face helped wake the spirit. Modern research suggests that cold water exposure on the face may stimulate the vagus nerve, which plays a role in calming the nervous system and improving alertness. That's why many people report feeling more awake, focused, and steady afterward, without caffeine. The cause and effect is simple. Cold water sends a mild, controlled stress signal. Your body responds by sharpening attention and regulating breathing. It's the same reason splashing your face can stop a panic spiral or help you reset after a bad night's sleep. People still use it today, just quietly, a few seconds of cold water in the morning, before an important conversation, after a long screen-heavy day. Nothing extreme, no ice baths, just enough to remind the body that it's safe, present, and awake. So why was it forgotten? Because it's free. It takes no equipment. And it doesn't fit neatly into a bottle or subscription. Convenience replaced it with stimulants and products that promise energy instead of teaching the body how to create it. Think of it as a power button you were born with. No upgrades needed. Just a habit waiting to be remembered. And what's interesting is that this idea of gentle stress making us stronger shows up again and again, which brings us naturally to number 2. Number 2, walking after meals, often called the blood sugar balancer. Before dinner meant couches and screens, people walked, not for fitness, not for steps, just because that's what came next. Farmers did it instinctively. Elders encouraged it. In many cultures, the evening walk was considered part of digestion itself. Modern research suggests that light walking after meals may help regulate blood sugar and support digestion. Not intense exercise, just slow, steady movement, enough to signal the body to process what it just received instead of storing it all at once. Here's why it works. When you walk, muscles gently pull glucose from the bloodstream to use as fuel. That reduces sharp spikes and helps the digestive system do its job more smoothly. Cause, effect, simple. People still use this today without calling it anything special. A 10-minute stroll after dinner, walking the dog instead of sitting down immediately, even pacing while talking on the phone. Nothing dramatic, just movement at the right time. So why did it disappear? Convenience. Cars replaced short distances. Screens replaced restlessness. Sitting became the default recovery position, even though the body was designed to move after eating, not collapse. Think of it like giving your body a polite nudge instead of a shove. You're not forcing digestion, you're cooperating with it. And once you understand how timing matters just as much as effort, the next practice starts to make a lot more sense. Number 3, sunlight before screens, often called the internal clock setter. Before alarms, notifications, and glowing rectangles, the day began with light. People stepped outside, Open shutters. Work near windows. Ancient cultures even structured entire routines around sunrise, believing it told the body when to wake, eat, and rest. Modern research suggests that early days sunlight exposure may help regulate circadian rhythm, which influences sleep quality, energy levels, and mood. Not hours of sun. Just a few minutes of natural light hitting the eyes without glass in between. Here's the simple cause and effect. Morning light tells your brain this is daytime. That starts an internal countdown that helps melatonin rise later at night. When that signal is missing or replaced by phone screens, the clock drifts, sleep suffers, energy follows. People still do this, often by accident. Drinking coffee near a window, walking outside first thing, standing on a balcony for a minute before checking messages. The effect isn't dramatic in the moment, but it compounds quietly. So why was it forgotten? Because screens move closer than windows. Because artificial light feels good enough. And because no one markets something you can get for free by simply stepping outside. Think of it as setting the tempo for the entire day. Miss the opening note, and the rest of the song feels off. And once you realize how much timing controls a body, the next practice, one that happens at night, becomes impossible to ignore. Number 4. Dark evenings, often called a natural off switch. Before overhead lights flooded every room, nights were dim. Candles, firelight, low lamps. When the sun went down, the environment softened with it. People didn't force sleep, they drifted into it. Modern research suggests that exposure to bright light at night, especially blue heavy light, may interfere with melatonin production, the hormone that signals the body it's time to rest. When light stays intense late into the evening, the brain gets confused. It thinks the day isn't over yet. The cause and effect is straightforward. Bright light equals alertness. Dim light equals permission to slow down. When evenings stay bright, the nervous system stays on, even when the body is exhausted. People still practice this without naming it. Turning on lamps instead of ceiling lights. Lowering screen brightness. Sitting with softer lighting after dinner. Some even light a candle, not for romance, but because it changes how the room feels. So why did this disappear? Because brightness became associated with productivity. Because we learned to fight tiredness instead of listening to it. And because darkness was framed as inconvenient rather than necessary. Think of it as easing your body into sleep instead of pushing off a cliff. Not forcing rest, inviting it. And once you understand how light shapes the nervous system, the next tradition, one that involves sound, starts to feel surprisingly powerful. Number 5. Humming and low vocal sounds, often called a built-in calm button. Long before playlists and white noise machines, people used their own voice, humming while working, chanting during rituals, singing softly at night. Mothers did it instinctively. Monks built entire traditions around it. Even wounded soldiers were taught to hum to steady themselves. Modern research suggests that slow, low vocal sounds may stimulate the vagus nerve, which helps regulate stress and breathing. That's why many people report feeling calmer almost immediately, without needing to think their way out of anxiety. Here's the simple cause and effect. When you hum, you extend the exhale and create gentle vibration in the throat and chest. That vibration sends a signal of safety. The nervous system responds by dialing things down. People still use this today, usually without realizing it. Humming while driving, singing quietly while cooking, letting out a long when something feels overwhelming. It's subtle, but the body recognizes it instantly. So why was it forgotten? Because it looks too simple. Because adults were taught to be quiet, not expressive. And because calm became something we try to buy instead of something we activate. Think of it as a remote control you've had your whole life. No batteries required. Just a sound that tells your body, you're okay. And once you see how the body responds to vibration, the next tradition, one that uses the hands, starts to feel inevitable. Number 6. Barefoot ground contact, often called the body's electrical reset. Before rubber soles and paved streets, people touched the earth constantly. Farmers worked barefoot in soil. Children ran without shoes. Healers believed the ground itself carried a stabilizing force, something that pulled excess energy out of the body. Modern research suggests that direct contact with the ground may help regulate inflammation and stress by allowing the body to equalize with the Earth's natural electrical charge. It sounds abstract, but many people report feeling calmer, steadier, and more present after just a few minutes. The cause and effect is surprisingly simple. The human body builds up static charge from electronics, shoes, and indoor living. Touching natural ground, grass, sand, soil allows that charge to discharge. Tension drops. Muscles soften. People still do this instinctively. Standing barefoot in the yard. Walking on the beach. Letting their feet touch grass after a long day. No technique. No ritual. Just contact. So why was it forgotten? Shoes became symbols of progress. Floors replaced earth. And something so ordinary was never framed as valuable. Because it couldn't be sold. Think of it as plugging yourself back into the original outlet, the one humans evolved with. And here's where things start to get interesting, because the next practice doesn't involve adding anything at all. It's about removing something, and that's where real power begins. Number 7, breath work and controlled breathing, often called the hidden pause button. Long before gyms, apps, or guided meditation, people controlled their breathing to manage energy, calm, or focus. Soldiers used it to steady aim in battle. Farmers relied on it during long, strenuous days. Monks and healers trained it as a foundational skill, sometimes even before reading or writing. Modern research suggests that slow, controlled breathing may influence heart rate, blood pressure, and stress response. By simply lengthening the exhale or counting breaths, many people report feeling calmer, sharper, and more in control without external tools. The cause and effect is elegant in its simplicity. Breathing deeply signals the nervous system that the body is safe. It slows the heart, lowers tension, and triggers mental clarity. The body reacts instantly, almost like flipping a switch. People still use it today, often without thinking, pausing for a long inhale before a meeting, counting breaths in traffic, doing a few rounds of slow exhale before sleep. Minimal effort, maximum effect. So why was it forgotten? Because it requires presence and patience, two things modern life rarely encourages. And because it can't be bottled, patented, or monetized. So it quietly slipped out of mainstream conversation. Think of it as having a built-in control panel for your nervous system. Always available. Always free. And speaking of availability, the next practice, number 8, takes this principle even further, using something almost everyone encounters every day. Number 8, clay and mud therapy, often called a natural detox wrap. Long before spas and fancy skincare treatments, people used clay and mud for healing. Farmers applied it to burns or insect bites. Soldiers in the field used it to soothe wounds. Ancient cultures, from Egyptians to Native Americans, swore by it for skin and overall vitality. Modern research suggests that certain clays may help draw out impurities from the skin, soothe inflammation, and even provide trace minerals that the body can absorb. While not a magic cure, many people report feeling refreshed, grounded, and revitalized after use. Here's why it works. Clay has a unique structure that binds with oils and toxins. When applied to the skin, it pulls them out gently, while the cooling sensation lowers local inflammation and calms irritated tissues. Cause and effect. Simple, natural, and observable. People still use it today, quietly. A thin layer on sunburned skin. Mud baths and resorts. Clay masks for a moment of mindful care. Nothing complicated. Just nature doing its work. So why was it forgotten? Because it's messy. Because it takes time to prepare. And because commercial products promise quick fixes, leaving traditional clay therapy in the background. Think of it as nature's way of hitting refresh on your body. No chemicals. No side effects. Just ancient earth reconnecting with you. And if you've ever thought these practices were purely local or outdated, number 9 will show how they can fit seamlessly into modern life. Number 9, herbal steam inhalation, often called the backyard ER. Before inhalers, nebulizers, or essential oil diffusers, people turned to steaming herbs. Grandparents with colds would pour hot water over leaves, cover their heads with a towel, and breathe deeply. Ancient soldiers and travelers carried herbs like eucalyptus or thyme to ease breathing on long journeys. Modern research suggests that inhaling certain herbal vapors may help soothe nasal passages, calm irritation, and support the body's natural defenses. While it's not a cure, many people report feeling immediate relief, clearer breathing, and a surprising sense of calm. Here's why it works. The steam opens airways, while the volatile compounds and herbs interact gently with the respiratory system. Cause and effect is intuitive. Warm moisture plus plant compounds equals temporary ease and comfort. People still use it today without thinking. A pot of boiling water with mint leaves, eucalyptus in the shower, even a quick warm towel over the face. Simple, inexpensive, and quietly effective. So why was it forgotten? Convenience. Medicine shifted to pills and sprays that promise instant results. The humble steam, free and accessible, was dismissed as old-fashioned. Think of it as a mini first aid kit in your kitchen. Ready whenever you need it, no prescription required. And speaking of ready-to-use tools, number 10 takes us into a practice that combines the body and the mind in a way many have overlooked. Number 10, sunflower seed and nut consumption, often called the brain booster snack. Long before protein bars and energy drinks, people relied on seeds and nuts for a daily dose of nutrition. Farmers, travelers, and even soldiers carried them as a compact, reliable source of energy. Grandparents snacked on sunflower seeds while working the fields or tending gardens, often without realizing the subtle benefits they were providing. Modern research suggests that seeds and nuts are rich in healthy fats, minerals, and antioxidants, which may support brain function, energy levels, and overall vitality. While not a magic formula, many people notice steadier focus and energy when including them in daily routines. Here's why it works. The combination of fats, fiber, and micronutrients stabilizes blood sugar and supports neurotransmitter function. Cause and effect is simple. Nutrient-dense fuel keeps your mind sharp and your body balanced. People still use it today, often casually. Snacking during work, tossing them into oatmeal or salads, or grinding them into spreads. Nothing fancy, just consistent, natural nourishment. So why was it forgotten? Because packaged snacks and processed foods became more convenient, hiding the simplicity of this age-old practice. And because something so small and ordinary rarely gets marketing attention. Think of it as a quiet brain companion. Always there, always steady, never demanding the spotlight. And once you understand how small daily habits like this quietly accumulate, number 11, another overlooked tradition, starts to feel like a secret waiting to be rediscovered. Number 11, manual stretching before sleep, often called the night reset. Before memory foam mattresses and scrolling in bed, evenings ended differently. People stretched, slowly, intuitively. Farmers loosened their backs after long days. Elders stretched joints near the fire. It wasn't exercise. It was preparation for rest. Modern research suggests that gentle stretching before sleep may help reduce muscle tension and support relaxation by lowering nervous system activity. Many people report falling asleep faster and waking up less stiff, not because they force flexibility, but because they release the day. The cause and effect is clear. Stretching signals completion. Muscles that stay tight keep the brain alert. Muscles that soften tell the body it's safe to power down. One leads to restlessness. The other leads to sleep. People still do this without realizing its purpose. Reaching arms overhead in bed, rolling the neck slowly, pulling knees to the chest before lying down. Small movements, big signals. So why was it forgotten? Because evenings filled up, because entertainment replaced transition, and because stillness became passive instead of intentional. Think of it as closing open tabs in your body before shutting down for the night. And once you understand how the body needs closure just as much as effort, the next tradition, number 12, raises the stakes in a way that feels almost uncomfortable, which is exactly why it works. Number 12, fermented foods, often called the gut army. Long before probiotics were a thing, people relied on fermentation to preserve food and boost nutrition. Kimchi in Korea, kefir in the Caucasus, kvass in Eastern Europe. These weren't just side dishes. They were daily staples. Grandparents knew the tangy flavors carried more than taste. They carried vitality. Modern research suggests that fermented foods may help support healthy gut bacteria digestion, and even mood regulation. While not a cure-all, many people notice improved digestion, steadier energy, and better overall gut comfort when including them regularly. Here's why it works. Fermentation transforms raw ingredients into living cultures. These microbes interact with the gut, aiding nutrient absorption and signaling the nervous system. Cause and effect. A thriving gut can quietly improve your whole system. People still use this today. A spoonful of kefir in the morning, kimchi with lunch, kvass is a refreshing drink. No strict rules, just consistent inclusion. So why was it forgotten? Convenience replaced it. Refrigeration and processed foods made storage simple, but robbed meals of their natural microbiome boosters. And because these foods are fermented, their benefits aren't flashy. They work subtly over time. Think of it as quietly building an army inside you. Small soldiers, relentless in support, strengthening your foundation without fanfare. And now we're moving into the last stretch. Numbers 13 through 16 will start feeling truly remarkable, with traditions so powerful they were once considered essential life skills. Number 13. Charcoal as a purifier, often called the ancient filter. Long before water filters and chemical treatments, people relied on charcoal to cleanse and purify. Soldiers carried it on long campaigns. Travelers packed it to neutralize toxins. Ancient healers used it for wounds, stomach discomfort, and even as a ritual cleanser. It was considered essential knowledge, so important that some cultures taught it to children before reading and writing. Modern research suggests that activated charcoal may bind certain impurities and help reduce odors or mild digestive discomfort. While not a cure or treatment for serious conditions, many people report feeling lighter, cleaner, and more balanced after using it safely. Here's why it works. Charcoal's porous structure attracts and traps molecules, acting as a natural filter. Cause and effect. Toxins or unwanted compounds are captured, reducing their immediate impact. It's simple chemistry leveraged by tradition. People still use it today, discreetly. A charcoal face mask. Charcoal water filters. A small amount in a safe, edible form for digestion. Nothing dramatic, nothing mystical. Just the natural purifying properties of burned wood. So why was it forgotten? Because modern solutions, chemical treatments, bottled products, complex devices, promised faster, marketable fixes. Charcoal, free and humble, became old-fashioned, even though it never really stopped working. Think of it as a secret detox tool you already carry in history. Simple, natural, quietly effective, and a reminder that some of the most powerful solutions were literally forged in fire. And once you realize the quiet brilliance of this, Number 14, another overlooked practice, pushes the benefits even further. Number 14, honey as a preserver and healer, often called the golden guardian. Long before modern medicine, honey was more than a sweet treat. Farmers used it to protect wounds, ancient travelers carried it for energy, and healers considered it a natural safeguard for health. Some civilizations even stored it in tombs because it never truly spoiled. Modern research suggests that honey has natural antibacterial properties and can soothe minor irritations. While it isn't a replacement for medicine, many people report calmer throats, faster recovery from minor scrapes, and gentle energy support from including it in their diet. Here's why it works. Honey's low moisture content and natural enzymes inhibit bacterial growth, while its simple sugars provide steady energy. Cause and effect. It preserves, protects, and nourishes all at once. People still use it today, often without thinking. A spoonful in tea, a dab on a scratch, even as a face mask. Simple, accessible, and quietly effective. So why was it forgotten? Because sugar and processed sweeteners became cheaper, faster, and marketed as better. Honey's subtle, natural power was overshadowed by convenience. Think of it as nature's multi-tool. Food, medicine, and preservative rolled into one golden package. And now, Number 15 takes us into a practice that is almost shocking in its simplicity, but profoundly powerful. Number 15. Earthing mats in grounded sleep, often called the nighttime recharge. Long before mattresses insulated us from the earth, humans slept directly on the ground or on natural fibers. Farmers rested in barns. Nomadic tribes slept under stars. The connection to the earth wasn't just comfort. It was considered essential for restoring energy. Modern research suggests that maintaining direct or near-direct contact with the earth while sleeping may help regulate inflammation, improve sleep quality, and balance the nervous system. While subtle, many people report feeling more refreshed and less restless upon waking. Here's why it works. The earth carries a natural negative electrical charge. By connecting through skin or conductive materials, the body may neutralize excess positive charges that accumulate during the day. Cause and effect. Less electrical noise in the body equals calmer nerves and better rest. People still use it today, mostly through yoga mats, grounding sheets, or barefoot sleep on natural floors. Nothing extreme, just recreating a connection our ancestors took for granted. So why was it forgotten? Because modern bedding, insulated flooring, and synthetic materials created comfort at the expense of connection. It's free, subtle, and unmarketable. So the practice quietly faded from mainstream awareness. Think of it as plugging your body back into the original power source, without wires, batteries, or gadgets. And finally, number 16, the perfect ending, the one that ties all these ancient practices together. Number 16, daily sun and nature immersion, often called the life recalibrator. Long before parks, gyms, and office buildings, people spent hours outside. Children played in open fields. Adults worked in gardens, forests, and rivers. Every part of life was intertwined with natural rhythms. Light, air, soil, water. It wasn't just exercise or leisure. It was essential for balance. Modern research suggests that daily exposure to natural light, fresh air, and green spaces may support mood, immunity, circadian rhythm, and mental clarity. While it's not a cure-all, countless studies show that even brief, consistent time in nature can reduce stress, improve focus, and elevate overall well-being. Here's why it works. Humans evolved to respond to natural cues. Sunlight for circadian rhythm, green landscapes for stress reduction, fresh air for oxygenation. Cause and effect. Immersion in nature resets the body and mind simultaneously, something no device can replicate. People still do it today, though often unintentionally. Walking in parks, gardening, morning stretches on a balcony, weekend hikes, minimal planning, maximum restorative impact. So why was it forgotten? Urbanization, screens, and sedentary lifestyles replaced constant connection with convenience and isolation. It wasn't lost. It was just overshadowed by modern living. Think of it as the master key that ties together all the previous practices. Sunlight, air, movement, presence. They amplify the effects of everything else, reminding the body of its original design. And that brings us full circle. From cold water on your face to grounding in the earth, from mindful breathing to fermented foods, these traditions never truly disappeared. They've been quietly waiting for us to remember. Which one surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to see which of these timeless practices resonates with you today. Thanks for watching, and if you found this journey through forgotten wisdom valuable, consider subscribing and joining our growing community. There's a lot more waiting to be rediscovered.